Now let's handle the Firebase authentication and CRUD operations in React. So into that folder of React, we will create our application. We will just type npx. Wait, let me just zoom the terminal. Npx create React app and the app name. So make it Firebase React. Let me just see. In Angular we have Angular Firebase. So let's make it React Firebase. And the name should be in small letters. This you should keep in mind. So let's wait for it to finish. It's creating a new app in the folder of React. So our React app has now been created and it started here. So we need to do one more thing here. So just open a terminal and just do npm install Firebase. We have to install this package. So install it and wait for it to finish. Then we have to create here two input fields. So let's create them. So remove this logo svg from here. So to create two input fields, we will just say input and placeholder as, let me make this as email, and name of email also, and the type of email as well. Sorry, type of email. Repeat it once more for the password. Make this as password, name as password, and this one as password as well. Type. Save it, and we can see to input name and email and password. So remove the class name app and replace it with the app header. Save, and let's remove the unnecessary class name like this app logo, media queries, and app link and the keyframes here at the bottom. Remove the background color here. Fine. Now give this inputs to class names or one class names. I mean for both of them. So let me just format this. So this should be, what should we call this input? Class name of input fields. So here we should give the input field some margin, 10 pixels. So we have some margin here. Let's add a button at the bottom, button to submit the form. So make this as, let's first sign up because we will use sign up methods first. So we need here two functions in the app.js. So create them. So const handle inputs. So we will handle the both inputs at the same time. One more function to submit. So handle submit equals to this function. So the handle input, we will target it on this input field. So on change, it will take a parameter called event, and we will just send the event to this function using argument and props. Sorry, argument and params, not props. And same here. So, and in the handle submit button, we will just map it here in the button. On click handle submit. So let's create one state here. First import the use state hook from React. Use state from React, and we will just do a state. Let's create one state. So const data set data equals to use state. It will be an object and it will contain two properties. So first will be the email, and it will be empty initially, then the password also empty initially. Then here we will have to get the input. So say event, we will receive it here, and let's create a new let variable. So let inputs equals to, So we will do it like this. In the inputs, we will just do event dot target dot name, and if the name matches, we will store the value in the name. So if it is email, coming from this name of email, and if it is password, coming from this name password. If they are matching, we will just store them inside their respective states, object states. So email, password, password. So here we will just say event dot target dot value. So in this input, we are setting it inputs. Then we have to just store this data in set data. So set data, we can just say input using 3 dots to spread them. Inputs. And we have also to store the previous data. But let me show you what I mean. So if we console this, so console dot log this data, and if we enter the email and password here, it won't work perfectly. So let me show you. Open the console, enter the email and some password, sign up. See, we are only getting the password, not the email. That's because we are setting only the field of inputs. And let's say we entered the email first, then the password. So this password is overriding the email, and that's why we are saying only the password. So to fix that, we have to just pass the data as well, this data. So it will contain the current data and the previous data. So save, and now let's check, refresh, and just enter email and password, sign up. Okay, we are getting this as empty. I guess we have to pass it before inputs. So first will be the data, then the input. Now let's check email and the password. Yes, now we see we are getting this email and the password. Now we can use this in the Firestore authentication. So let's add authentication. So import. Let's import the two things from that. Wait. Oh yes. So we need the app and the database. So first let's create them. So in the source folder, create a file called Firebase config.js. And in the file, we have to just import the Firestore configuration for this project. So copy these things here and add it here. So we have to export the const app, and we need one more thing from the Firestore database. Get Firestore, which is called. So get Firestore from Firebase/Firestore. So I think the import name is correct. Get Firestore. Okay, Firestore is a single line. I mean single word. So we have to initialize the Firestore as well. So export const. Let's make it okay. Just database equals to get Firestore and just pass the app credentials inside here. This app. Now it will work. So now let's import these two app and database in the app.js main file. Import app and database from one step back Firebase config file. Fine. So we're done here. But we have to get authentications things also. To open authentications tab first, we have two emails. So let's add one more from the React tab. So let's make this as import empty from. Let's add the import first. Firebase/auth. This one. And in this curly brackets, we have to import. First is the get auth. Second is the sign in with email and password for the login, and create user with the email and password for creating account here. So these three we need. We need to create one instance for the auth. So const auth equal to get auth. And in the submit function, handle submit, we have to just call this function called create user with email and password. We will pass this auth here, auth instance, then the email and password. So we can just pass. So what's the state name? Data dot email comma data dot password. So it takes 3 params. You already know from my previous videos for other frameworks. It takes auth, data email, and data password. I mean email and password. Then we have to use a then block to make it a successful message. So response, and we will just say console dot log response. Else if it's okay, response dot data, sorry, user, not data. And if it fails, we can just say catch error, and this should be alert error dot message. So if we save, and now let's try to add some input. If we sign up, we will get an error because we already have this email present in the authentication. We can't create it duplicately. Sign up. You see, we are getting this email auth already in use. But if we use the wrong or different email, let's say 4403, and click sign up, it will be successful. So we are getting all this data here and here. If we refresh the authentications tab, it will be here in the users. See this one. So it's done. So now let's add the sign in button. So add this as, or make the sign up as sign in. And here just replace this function of create user with email and password with this sign in with email and password. So add it here. And if we now try this, it should work. We will get the same data here. See, we are getting this data because now we are not creating the account, we are signing in. If we use the wrong email that is not in the users tab here, we will get error. So try it. See, auth user not found. But if we use the wrong password as well, we will get the password error. So make this something else that is not present in the store. This authentication, sign in, wrong password. So this is how we handle sign up and sign in method. So one thing to show you before this is, so we can store this token inside our session storage, and we can use it for our authentication. There are other methods as well. You can use them as well. So these are done. So now let's see how to send data to Firebase Firestore. So we need a few things here as well. So first will be a collection, to create a collection or to get the collection, and add doc. So first let me just import from Firebase / Firestore this. So we are importing collection and add doc. So collection may be used to specify a collection, and add doc will add data inside the collection. So let me remove this because we will just send data from here. So we can just make this button of sign in with send or add data. We need to add one more field here called name. So let me add it here. So make the placeholder as name, name as name, type as text. Fine, we are done. And here one more object property called name, empty initially, and it's done. So now we can store our name here as well. So what we can do is, in the handle submit function, we have to use, first let's create a collection. So if we open the Firestore database, we will see our collection name here. So it's called users. So we need to add the collection name. So we can do it like this: const, let's say database, which database to edit, users to edit, and then we have to pass this. Where is it? This database. Where is it? This database here. Okay, wait. First will be database, then the users. So now save them. It takes 2 params. We will use, okay, let's make it DB instance because we have 2 databases now. So we will use add doc, then we will pass the DB instance and then the data. So our data is this data. So simply pass it like this and it's done. So if it is successful, we will then call then block, and here we will just show an alert that says that data sent, or else if it fails we will catch the error using catch block, which will show us an error. So alert error dot message. Save, and now let's try. Enter the name, the email, and some password. Add data. Data sent, and if we check here, it should be here. Wait. If we refresh this, okay. Okay, wait a second. Wait a second. In the Firebase config, yes, but we are not getting the data here. So we are sending it. Where is it? Where is it? We are sending the data with DB instance. Wait a sec. Add doc. Is it add doc? Yes, it's add doc. Okay, now let's try once more. Let's make it Nishant Kumar 2 and then add data. Sent. Yes, it's now getting saved here. It's Nishant Kumar 2 and the same email and password. So it's done. We now know how to add data here. So next up is the get data from Firestore. So we will create an use effect hook. First a function, but so const get data equals to this arrow function, and here we will write our logic to get data. So we need one more thing called get docs. We will just use this get docs and pass the instance here. So the instance is called this DB instance. It will specify the document name and the database. So pass it, then simply create one use effect hook, or you can do it like this also. So on the button, just pass the function. So if we click the button of add data, or let's say get data, this function will run and it will get our data. But we have to make it an asynchronous function. And here we will have to await this. And we will store the data inside one variable. So let's say const data equals to await get docs db instance. And we can console this data like this. But we have to map it. I will show you why. Open the console, click get data. We are getting all the data that we cannot read. So let me just filter it out. So in the data, we have the docs and we will map it. It will take an item param. Then we will simply return dot item dot data and then the ID of the item. So it will be item dot ID. Now let's check get data. So we are getting three objects in an array from here. So this is how we read data in the Firebase Firestore. So the next up is update data. So let me just use the function here as well. Or okay, fine. So okay, let's now create a new function. So const update data. And let me just figure or just cut. Okay, let me first do this. So let's get back the add doc function and add the here, not get data. Okay, what I'm doing? What the hell is I'm doing? So update data will be an arrow function. So we have the handle submit, which is add data. So make it add data here. Fine. We're not running it at the moment, but it's fine. So to update data, we will just use a function called doc. So it's not a function. It's a function. So we will specify which document to update. So let's say we will use a new variable called let data to update. So it will take the doc, and here we will pass three things. So the database, the collection name, sorry, document, what is it? This, the database, the collection name, and the ID. So we have to specify which document to edit, whether it is this one or second or third one. So we will get the ID from these fields. So let me just create one new button here at the bottom here. But the thing is, okay, what we can do is, let's map this data first. It's simple as well. So we have to create one state of, let's say, array and set array. Use state and array, empty array, and then just set the set array here on the read data. We don't have to console it. Then we will just map compile with problems. I does not define, fine. We will address it later. So where is it? Array. We have to map it. So let's map it here. So array.map, it will take an item param, anything you want to write, you can write it here. You will return something. So let's return 3p, or first a div as a parent, then 3 p tags. So I will just say item dot name, email and password. So it will loop through that array just like we did in the Angular version. So it will be an email now, and here it will be an password. So in the Angular we have used ng for, but here we are using this array map to loop through the array. So in the button, so we need one button here as well. So make a button that will send data to that function. So button on click, if we click the button, it will just send the data. So we can just say, what is the function name? Update data. Update data, and we will just set the ID. So item.id in the update field, update data function. Receive the ID here, and it will work fine. So it's now here. So we are adding the which data to update. Wait a sec. Let's add the name here as well for the button. So update. If we refresh, okay, we're not getting this here. Why? Array.map, it's here. Okay, let's remove this input fields and see. Or just comment these. Okay, we have get data, but not this update. Why? We are mapping the array and we are returning it here, but we cannot see this. That's why is that? Okay. App header. If we choose the app header, and if we remove all this, or just remove the app header class, what is the here? Why we can't see our array mapping? So array.map items, it will return some div and a button inside. Okay, just copy this or cut this and remove all the things from here. One more div, we need to close it, and then the, okay, if we just open the console, let's see what we get. Refresh. Array is not here. We are setting it here. Okay, the problem is we're not setting it here. Okay, that's a Blender mistake I did. So revert all the things back here. So let's create one use effect hook. So use effect. So we are setting the data, but we're not loading it when the app loads. So we will use the use effect hook here, and we will just pass an empty array to make it an empty dependency array, and we will just get data here. Call the get data function inside, and it will work now. You see, we are getting all these three fields here: name, email, and password. But so if we refresh, you cannot see our fields. if we are returning this item array.map get data. Okay. Why we cannot see our fields? Item.name, fine. If we remove the class here, okay, now we are seeing, okay, I guess it's because the color of the font is white. So remove the color, and now we can see this. We can see our name, our email, and the password. So let me just remove these things first because we don't need at the moment them. So if we click update on this field, this ID will be passed down to this function here and it will update. So let's create a, or let's just import some things here. So we need to import update doc from Firestore. So we also need one more to delete the document. So delete doc should be here. So to update doc, we will just do update data, update doc, and we will pass data to update and the data inside. So let's just make the updation like this. So we will change the name as first name should be not Nishant Kumar, just Nishant. Let's add the email to be something else. So okay, if we copy and let's change some small details. 440123. Okay, let's update this to only, and if it is successful, we will just show an message called alert data updated. But if it fails, we will catch it and say it will take an error, and we will say console.log error or alert also. So if we now click the field of update here, so this ID will pass down to the function for this what is it, for this property. So wait, one more thing, only just last thing, give an HR tag here for the horizontal line. So it's now getting separated with this line. This is one field, this is one field, and this is the last field. Click update here. This ID will be passed to the function of update data, and it will be passed to this let variable called let data to update. It is specifying which document to target first using the ID parameter, and it's just updating the data using this let variable and the data. I guess you know what I mean. If it is successful, we will just have to call the get data to get the updated data. If we click the first field, this should be Nishant, not Nishant Kumar, and the email will change to this. So let's update here. Updated, and see, it's now Nishant and the email has been changed as well. If we click, or if we make this as Ashish and email is something Ashish is blah blah whatever. So if we click this update, they should change to Ashish and the email should be this. So update changed. You can also change the password. So if we make the password to be and string of ABC DEF and update, this name will be the same with the email and the password only will change alone. Update, updated, and the password has been changed now here. So we can do it for Uday as well. If we update, all the three fields will be changed. See, they are being changed. So this is how we update data in the Firestore. The fourth one is called delete data. So we will just say const delete data, and here also it will take the ID and delete data to update or make it data to delete. So it takes three params just like the update doc. So we are importing delete doc here, and we will just have to pass this data to delete in the delete doc function, nothing else. and followed by this then and catch block. In case of success and errors, make it data deleted, and we have to pass the function in an id in a button also. So make a button here. This will be delete, and on click of the button we will just say delete data and pass the item.id. Save. Id is not defined, so let's receive it here in the delete data function id. So we now have a delete button. So delete, they should be deleted, and see it's not here. If we check the Firestore, it's getting deleted in real time. If we delete the second one of Ashish, deleted, and it's not here, and it's not here as well. So we have added all the four methods of CRUD operations: adding, deleting, get data, and update data. Creation, creating, reading, updating, and deleting. So that's how we perform CRUD operations in React and authentications using email and password sign up. You can also add one more sign up method called Google authentication or GitHub authentication, and it is very easy. Fine. So let me now just comment out or name the comments from these codes and save it. So we can just add data here and it will show up in the bottom. So if we enter the name Nishant Kumar, some email and some password, if we add data. So let me just make the button here to be add data. Where is it? And the function name as add data. If we now click add data, this will be here. Data sent. Okay, we have to use the read data here first in the add lock. So where is it? Get data function. So if we add some more, Nishant, 1, 2, 3, and all the things will be same. Sent, and it's here. So let me show you from the starting. Delete, add some data, add data, send, and it's here. Let's make it as Ashish. This one should be Ashish 440@gmail.com, or just make it 420. 420. Add data, sent, it's here, and that's how we add data. We can update them. It's being updated to this data we are adding here. You can make it dynamic by passing data to this button and the function. Passing data to this input fields. So I'm not going to do that. So that's how we do all the things in Firebase and React. For Firebase and React. In the next video, we will bring out React Native, and that will be the last.